You're in the Target checkout line with $67 worth of stuff you didn't come in for. There's a candle, paper towels, some kind of kitchen organizer that seemed essential 5 minutes ago. You don't remember what you actually came in for. And as the cashier scans the kitchen organizer, you feel it. That low-grade financial anxiety that has just become the background noise of your entire adult life. Not because you're broke, not because you're irresponsible, not because you bought anything crazy, you bought paper towels, and somehow this cart is going to quietly stress you out for 3 days. You make decent money, you have a real job, you didn't do anything wrong today, you just lived your life normally. Here's what nobody is telling you. Normal in 2026 is a trap. It's not a lifestyle. It's a financial slow leak that's been draining your wealth for years while everyone around you is losing the same amount and calling it adulthood. My name is Nick, and we need to talk about the full price tag. Before we get into the numbers, when was the last time you consciously decided to spend money on your streaming services or your phone plan or your car payment? Not when did you sign up? When did you last choose to keep it? Probably never, because those things don't feel like choices anymore. They graduated from purchase to overhead. They moved into your budget the way a relative moves into your house, gradually, quietly, and now they've been there so long it would feel strange to ask them to leave. That is exactly the mechanism of this trap. Your financial stress isn't coming from one catastrophic decision. It's not the vacation. It's not even the car you probably shouldn't have financed. It's the aggregate cost of doing everything right. Going to work, driving to work, paying for the phone that gets you to work, coming home and watching something because you worked 10 hours and your brain is basically decorative at that point. The cost of normal, ordinary, non-extravagant American life in 2026 has crossed into genuinely catastrophic territory. Nobody notices it as a total because the monthly line items feel survivable. The trick is the sum. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice. What I am is someone who spent an embarrassing amount of time reading the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Expenditure Survey at midnight, and what I found should be a national news story. Let me give you the whole number first. According to the BLS's most recent consumer expenditure survey, the average American household spends $78,535 per year. That's $6,545 a month. Before you say, that's the average, not me. I'm going to walk through every single category. You are going to recognize your life in here. Housing takes the largest share, roughly $26,266 a year, or $2,190 a month. If you're renting, the national average just crossed $2,000 a month. In any actual city, or Los Angeles, Austin, Denver, Seattle, any place with a job market, you're looking at $2,500 to $3,200 for anything that doesn't come with a roommate who has opinions about the shared fridge. That is half of a $6,000 monthly take home. Just the place where you sleep. Transportation costs the average household $13,318 a year, $1,110 a month. The average new car payment in the United States right now is $772 a month. $772. That's not for a Tesla or a Porsche or anything with a badge that makes your coworkers feel bad about themselves. That's the average payment for a regular car purchased by a regular person. 1 in 5 new car buyers is now paying over $1,000 a month. And the average new car price just hit an all-time record of $50,326, not the expensive trim level, the average. The car your neighbor drives to Costco on weekends, $50,000. AAA's 2025 analysis of total vehicle ownership, payment, insurance, maintenance, fuel, depreciation comes out to $965 a month, which means the normal car situation costs roughly the same per month as a decent apartment in a mid-sized city. You are paying apartment rent twice, once for where you live and once for what you drive. Food runs the average household $10,164 a year, about $850 a month. And for the first time in American history, we now spend more on food away from home than on groceries, which makes complete sense because after a full workday, most people aren't choosing between DoorDash and a lovingly prepared home cooked meal. They're choosing between DoorDash and cereal eaten standing over the sink. DoorDash wins every time. And the average delivery user spends $130 to $152 a month on it, 36% of which is fees: delivery fee, service fee, small order fee, we exist fee. You ordered $22 worth of Thai food and the subtotal is $34 before tip. That is not a glitch. That is a business model: subscriptions. The average American thinks they spend about $86 a month on subscriptions. The actual number is $219 a month. People underestimate their subscription spending by a factor of 2.5. You think you're paying $86, you're paying $219. The subscription economy built a product you forget you're buying. That is the dream for any business. Imagine if your landlord could make you forget you were paying rent. That's what Netflix figured out. Except now it's Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Spotify, Amazon Prime, cloud storage, the gym you visit with the frequency of a lunar eclipse, and the 3 free trials that quietly graduated to paid while you were busy living your life. And the reason canceling feels harder than it should is not an accident. That friction is engineered by people whose entire job is making sure you don't cancel. Phone and internet costs $280 a month on average. In 2000, a landline and dial-up cost about $60 combined. That's $220 a month of your current budget going to technology that didn't exist when your parents were your age, and you've never once thought of it as optional. Childcare if you have kids, which is a completely normal thing humans do. Averages $10,600 to $15,570 per child per year. In Massachusetts and California, infant care runs $24,000 a year. That is more than in-state university tuition at most public schools. Your 1-year-old who cannot read, cannot speak in full sentences, and recently tried to eat a crayon is costing you more than a college education. The crayon was free. The childcare center watching them not eat it is $2,000 a month. Student loans add $200 to $503 a month for the 43 million Americans carrying them, on an average balance of $39,075. So you're paying for the education that got you the job that pays for everything else on this list. It's a complete circle. A very expensive, exhausting circle. Let me build this into a real picture. Not a household in poverty, not a household making catastrophic choices, a household doing everything basically right. Meet the Garcias, 2 people, both working, combined income of $90,000 a year, above the median, solidly middle class. And after federal taxes, state taxes, and FICA, they take home roughly $6,000 a month. That is their actual money. Here's where it goes. Rent, $1,850. One used car payment, $540. Car insurance, $180. Gas, $160. 2 phone lines, $180. Internet, $68. Groceries, $700. Subscriptions. They counted, they have 6. They thought they had 3. $145. Utilities, $190. Health insurance, employee share, $320. That's $4,333 a month. Before a single restaurant meal, before student loans, $380 a month between them. Before clothing, medical copays, the birthday gift for someone who seems to have a birthday every single month, or the car repair that is coming because all car repairs are always coming. After student loans, they're at $5,093 in fixed expenses on a $6,000 take home. They have $907 left for everything. The emergency fund they've been told to build, roughly $25,000, would take over 2 years to accumulate if they spent literally nothing on entertainment, clothing, or anything that makes life feel like a life rather than a sentence. In retirement savings, financial advisors recommend 15% of gross. That's $1,125 a month. They have $907 total. They can save for emergencies or retirement but mathematically not both. In practice, they'll do neither because the water heater is making a sound. This is what $275 a month of breathing room feels like. It feels like Googling, can I drive on a failing wheel bearing for 3 more weeks and doing it anyway? It feels like your friend's birthday dinner at a restaurant where the pasta is $28 and you're doing division under the table. It feels like the dog needing a vet visit and a quiet internal calculation about whether it's an emergency vet or let's see how it looks tomorrow situation. It feels like every unexpected expense, every single one, being a crisis, not an inconvenience. And the cruelest part, the Garcias can't save their way out of this. There's no budgeting trick that turns $907 of remaining income into a $25,000 emergency fund plus $1,125 in retirement contributions plus actual human life expenses. The math doesn't have a hidden compartment. What they would need is a raise, a big one. But here's what happens when most people get a raise. The lifestyle adjusts upward within about 3 months, and they end up with the same $275 margin at a higher income. New car, nicer apartment, a couple more subscriptions, the gap stays the same. This is why 40% of households earning $100,000 report feeling like they're living paycheck to paycheck, and why it never seems to get better no matter how much more people earn. The Garcias make $90,000 a year. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just living in 2026. And here's the thing that should genuinely disturb you. Goldman Sachs found that 40% of households earning $500,000 a year still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck because the lifestyle expands to fill the income every single time. More money doesn't solve this problem, it just upgrades it. Here's where the number goes from uncomfortable to genuinely shocking. Every dollar you spend on normal is a dollar that isn't compounding. The S&P 500's historical average return is about 10% annually. That return doesn't care about your car or your streaming services. It just takes whatever you give it and multiplies it for 30 years. The average new car payment is $772 a month. If you drove something paid off and invested $772 a month in a basic index fund for 30 years, you'd have $1.73 million. Not from crypto, not from picking stocks, from a boring index fund. The car doesn't cost $50,000. The car costs $1.73 million. The $50,000 is just the down payment on the actual cost. Now, I know what you're thinking. Nick, I'm not going to invest 100% of my car payment. Fair. Cut it in half. That's still $865,000 from one car payment. The math doesn't require perfection, it just requires direction. The $219 a month in subscriptions, you're not fully aware you're paying. Over 30 years, $495,000, $500,000 in streaming services and forgotten fitness apps. The $280 in connectivity, $633,000, added up. The normal monthly spending that feels non-negotiable. 2 cars, subscriptions, full connectivity runs $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Invested over 30 years, that becomes $3.4 to $4.5 million. That is the actual cost of normal, not the monthly number, the lifetime number. And nobody ever shows you this because if they did, you might make different choices, and different choices are bad for their business. I want to be clear about something before we move on. I'm not saying don't own a car. I'm not saying cancel every subscription and live like a monk in a Wi-Fi free cabin. That's not a life either. What I'm saying is that most people have never seen these numbers presented together as a total with the 30-year tail attached. When you buy a car, no one hands you a slip that says, and here is what this costs you in lifetime wealth. When you sign up for another streaming service, nobody shows you the compounding math. Every financial decision in your life has been presented to you as a monthly number, the smallest possible unit, specifically because the full number would change your behavior. Once you've seen the full number, you can't unsee it. And that's actually useful because it means every future decision gets made with accurate information instead of a number that was designed to feel survivable. None of this happened by accident. Cars, The average new car cost $20,356 in 2000. Today it's $50,326. That's a 147% increase against 88% overall inflation. Why? The affordable sedan is functionally extinct. Automakers stopped making them because trucks and SUVs have better margins, and rather than admit nobody can afford these vehicles, the industry stretched the loan. 4 years became 6, 6 became 7. Now, 1 in 5 new car loans goes to 84 months. 7 years. You will be making payments on this car until it's old enough to have trust issues. The subscription economy is a different trap. Netflix raised prices 3 times in 3 years. Spotify, Disney Plus, Hulu, Amazon, Apple, all raised prices. Each individual increase was $1 or $2 a month, small enough that canceling felt like more effort than the savings, large enough that collectively they're taking $500,000 from your retirement. That's the architecture. Then there's the visibility trap. Nearly 40% of Americans have overspent to impress someone else. And here's exactly why. You can see your coworker's vacation on Instagram. You can see your neighbor's new car. What you cannot see is the credit card balance that funded the vacation or the 7-year loan on the car. You see 100% of the spending and 0% of the debt behind it. Your brain concludes this is just what normal life costs, and you make your decisions accordingly. Everyone is performing financial health to an audience that is also performing financial health. It's a very expensive theater production in which nobody is actually enjoying the show. And then there's the thing that quietly stitches all of this together: credit card debt. The average American household carrying a balance owes $11,400 on their credit cards at an average interest rate of just under 21% APR. At minimum payments, that $11,400 generates more than $18,000 in interest before it's paid off. You are not just spending more than you earn, you are paying a 21% annual fee for the privilege of having done so. And here's the part that should make you close this tab and go look at your credit card statement. A Bankrate survey found that the primary driver of credit card debt for most households isn't vacations or luxury purchases. It's groceries, utilities, and childcare. The basic costs of normal life have become so expensive that people are financing them on high-interest revolving debt and paying a fifth of the balance in interest every year just to stay in place. The credit card isn't a spending problem, it's a cost of normal overflow valve. So what do you actually do with this? The answer is not stop buying lattes. Lattes are not why the Garcias have $275 left at the end of the month. The lattes are $3 in a $6,500 a month problem. The first thing to do is find your actual number. Pull 3 months of bank statements. Add up every subscription, including the ones that come out on weird dates you've stopped tracking. Add every convenience fee, delivery surcharge, and tipping prompt on an app that charged you a service fee before the tip. Total your transportation costs. Find the real monthly cost of your life and compare it to your real monthly take-home. Most people have never done this in a single sitting because the charges are spread across too many accounts for the total to be emotionally obvious. Put it in one number, let it sit with you. Second, identify the invisible overhead, the spending that graduated from choice to assume necessity without you consciously making that decision. Subscriptions you wouldn't resubscribe to if they canceled tomorrow. The phone plan you've had since 2019 that's $40 more a month than equivalent plans today. The car payment that became permanent infrastructure. You didn't choose to keep most of it. You just didn't choose to end it. And not choosing to end something is still a choice. It just doesn't feel like one, which is exactly why it persists. Third, understand that the people who build wealth are not making dramatically more money than you. Research on first-generation millionaires consistently shows the differentiating factor isn't income. It's the gap between income and spending, maintained over time. The average American millionaire drives a 3-year-old car, lives in a neighborhood that seems too modest for their net worth, and has said no to normal enough times that the invested difference turned into something real. They didn't win anything, they just refused to let normal eat everything they made. None of this requires a dramatic lifestyle overhaul in a single weekend. The math rewards consistency more than intensity. Canceling 2 subscriptions you don't use, $30 a month. Invested over 30 years is $67,000. Shopping your phone plan and saving $40 a month is $90,000. Keeping your car one extra year instead of trading it in early and investing the payment, that alone could be $200,000 over a working life. These aren't sacrifices, they're corrections. Small adjustments to spending that was never consciously chosen in the first place, redirected towards something that actually compounds in your favor instead of theirs. There is no trophy for spending exactly what everyone around you spends. No plaque that reads, "Congratulations on paying $219 a month for services you couldn't fully name." The entire portfolio of Normal in 2026 costs $78,535 a year, requires an income most households don't have to sustain without debt, and generates a savings rate of about 3.6 cents per dollar earned. The system was not designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to make you a reliable, consistent, slightly distracted spender. None of them, the car industry, the streaming industry, the subscription economy, benefit from you quietly building a $3 million index fund. They benefit from you paying $772 a month for a vehicle you'll still owe money on in 2031, and $219 a month for services you've half forgotten you have, and $34 for Thai food that costs $22 to make. You are not bad at money. You are succeeding at being a normal American in 2026, and it turns out that is a financially catastrophic thing to be. The cost of normal is $3.4 million. The cost of opting out is the mild social discomfort of driving a car that's paid off and canceling the gym membership you haven't used since February. That is the whole trade. The only question is whether anyone told you the trade existed. Now you know.